You think he's underestimating your skills and your ability to switch stances?
No, not at all. You know, like he didn't fought southpaws, he didn't fought orthodox fighters, so you know he's been in the ring with a lot of fighters, and in his mind, he don't see nothing new that I can do.
Ridiculous promotion of Canelo Crawford has given me lots of good ammunition. Ooh, first, let's take it back to last week when this photo was taken of Canelo and Crawford having dinner together. Like they're best friends.
I love you, man.
They're buddies, like they were family.
Canelo Alvarez has received a clear warning from Terence Crawford, who acknowledged the Mexican champion's unique skill set, particularly his ability to switch stances with ease. However, made it clear that if they ever share the ring, Canelo will be facing a completely different type of fighter than he's used to, reflecting on Canelo's past. Questioned whether Alvarez has truly evolved.
Is it a lot since the Mayweather fight, or is he the same fighter?
I don't know. I just think, you know, sometimes some fighters, you know, they fight to their level of competition, and you know, I think he's definitely more experienced, with more well-rounded, given the experience that he had in a Floyd Mayweather fight. So
I'm not sure if he's changed all that much. While Crawford admitted that many fighters adapt their performance depending on their opponent, he did credit Canelo for becoming more experienced, remains confident in his own abilities, and ended with a telling remark, "We'll see," leaving the door wide open for a potential clash between two of boxing's best. On the other hand, he criticized the build-up to a potential showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford for lacking intensity, pointing to a recent photo of the two fighters casually having dinner together.
Muhammad Ali or like Joe Frazier having dinner together? What? Can you imagine Mike Tyson and Mitch Green before a brawl? What the fuck? No boxing fan wants to see two fighters having dinner together.
We could have a dinner on Wednesday night.
We want bad blood.
He called it a weak promotional move, argued that major fights should be driven by genuine rivalry and tension, not staged moments of camaraderie. He warned that without real anticipation and emotional stakes, the matchup risks falling flat in the eyes of boxing fans.
We want anticipation. We want to feel like an actual war is about to happen. Not caviar and champagne together while they're staging their trilogy. Jesus Christ.
He questioned the promotion of the Terence Crawford fight, calling the press tour rushed and unconvincing, laughing off the lack of genuine tension. He dismissed their trash talk and face-offs as staged and uninspired. Also took aim at Canelo, urging him to fight instead of entertaining ideas about joining WWE, as he offered some pointed advice if he truly wanted to get under Canelo's skin. He should bring up the failed drug test and the controversy surrounding tainted meat, according raising those real.
Their dinner date together. Canelo and Crawford said on the press tour that I think started in Riyadh, New York, and Vegas. So here's a clip of their shit talking.
I'm very excited for this fight. We'll see.
That's late, right? Oh, and Canelo elaborated on his career plans.
Maybe you will see me in the WWE.
Okay, great, Canelo, but please first, before you fight The Undertaker, can you please fight David Benavidez? No. And here's the moment where the script told them to shove each other. Anybody else not buying this drama? And Crawford, if you want to actually make Canelo mad, just tell the truth about him and his tainted meat.
And Canelo failed 2 drug tests.
And when asked what time the fight will take place,
I don't know.
My good friend Turkey on the Sheep gave an answer that left everybody puzzled.
What are we looking at here?
I mean, I'm sorry, Turkey, but
Heated issues would provoke a far more authentic reaction from Canelo. Terence Crawford, however, pushed back against the notion that Canelo Alvarez is underestimating his skill set, particularly his adaptability and ring IQ. Crawford acknowledged that has faced both southpaws and orthodox fighters and has sparred with a wide range of styles throughout his career. Still, he issued a warning, might believe there's nothing Crawford brings that he hasn't seen before. He'll be in for a surprise when they finally meet in the ring.
Estimating your skills and your ability to switch stances?
no, not at all. You know, like he didn't fought southpaws, he didn't fought orthodox fighters, so you know he's been in the ring with a lot of fighters, and in his mind, he don't see nothing.
He raised concerns about the timing of the event, criticizing Saudi officials for their vague statements and emphasizing that Canelo Alvarez soon have to choose between supporting the UFC or the boxing spectacle. He slammed White for dodging legitimate questions and resorting to insults instead. Canelo Alvarez also pointed out the hypocrisy in White's behavior, refusing to work with him.
Or the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. And when confronted about his plans, Dana White simply chose to be the Neanderthal that he is, dodging the question and calling me a douchebag. I mean, it's ironic coming from the guy who's a walking billboard for affliction. I mean, we can all agree, if you look up the word douchebag, in the dictionary, Dana White's photo pops up. Dana went on to say he enjoys working with Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, but won't work with lunatics like De La Hoya and...
While openly backing other promoter like Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, he made it clear that neither Canelo Alvarez, and even suggested that Al Heyman shares the same sentiment. White directly claiming he has a stable full of elite fighters ready for major bouts. While mocking White for what he sees as a dwindling roster of UFC stars, he didn't hold back, taking shots at White's appearance and attitude and criticizing the reported financial struggles. Canelo Alvarez, with a bold and defiant message, aimed squarely at both Dana White and making it clear he won't be backing down anytime soon. On the other side of the ongoing debate surrounding a potential Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford showdown, legendary ring announcer Michael Buffer has weighed in with his thoughts, bringing a more measured...
In other words, Bob and I know he's a junkie and won't work with him. And I can only assume that Al Heyman feels the same way.
I hate him.
Oh, and Dana, you can call me anytime, brother. Because I have lots of great fighters to make great fights with. Oh, but shit, wait. You don't have any fighters. What? And for God's sake, dude, man, get a big shirt. Tight. Maybe some slacks. Get on blood pressure meds or something. Whatever you need to look and behave like a fucking human being.
Well, I can't.
Oh, and you haven't built a star in the UFC in 5 years. Maybe do your job and stop jumping shit. Because the UFC is in billions in debt. I'm rich, Dana, Canelo, you.
Measured, an optimistic tone to the conversation, speaking on the possible matchup. Buffer predicted an incredibly close and tactical contest between two of boxing's most skilled champions. In his view, the fight wouldn't be decided by raw power or brute force, but rather by a technical chess match inside the ring, according to Buffer. Both Canelo and Crawford possess...
It's not a big fight unless you're announcing it. Canelo versus Crawford. How do you see that one going?
I think it's going to be a close and interesting fight.
Right.
I think it's going to be a technical fight, not a power fight.
Now, what do you think about Dana White promoting it? Do you think
he's only proven himself to be one of the greatest promoters in the history of the sport?
So he's good, pretty good deal. He's good for boxing.
Oh yeah, he'll know what to do.
Because some people like De La Hoya have been a little critical of him, but he has the Michael Buffer approval, obviously.
Possess high-level ring ikes, making their potential clash one that would highlight finesse, timing, strategy, and adaptability over sheer aggression. This is not going to be a brawl, Buffer explained. It's going to be an exciting, razor-thin contest that will come down to who makes the smarter moves, who times the counterpunches better, and who adapts in the later rounds. These are two elite fighters with world-class technique. He emphasized that Crawford's speed, movement, and defensive slickness would be tested against Canelo's pressure, timing, and power-punching ability. Buffer acknowledged that while many expect Canelo's size and strength...
How bad he was against Skull. Just, like, I'm not convinced that it was just a bad style. I think that he's just to the point after, all these years of being a professional since he's like, 15, 16 years old, that takes a toll, man. It's all the sparring, it's all the fights, it's the wear and tear on your body. And I have made this point before. To me, it's not so much about the number of fights, it's how many rounds do you have. Here's the harsh reality. Canelo Alvarez has literally like double the number of pro rounds that Terence Crawford does.
Strength to pose a problem. Crawford has repeatedly proven that he can overcome physical disadvantage through superior tactics and precision. From Buffer's perspective, it's exactly this balance of strengths and contrast that would make the fight not only entertaining, but truly historic. When asked about the buzz surrounding UFC President Dana White possibly stepping into the boxing world to help promote the event, Buffer offered nothing but praise. Despite ongoing feuds between Dana White and prominent boxing figures like Oscar De La Hoya and Bob Arum, Buffer chose to look at White's
100-something rounds as a professional now, Canelo. Crawford hasn't even hit 300 rounds as a professional. That's a big difference.
That's another factor then we can look into this fight. There's so many factors to it, like you say, Dan. Now, you did touch on it.
It's 520 rounds for Canelo Alvarez as a professional. And it's 245 rounds as a professional for Terence Crawford. Yeah. That's a dramatic difference. Think about the wear and tear you might take in an extra 200 plus rounds. And it's not like Canelo's fighting guys who can't fight. He's fighting top level, world championship level fighters, one after the other after the other. If you looked at a guy like William Skull or John Ryder or somebody like that and say that was like his so-called worst opponent over the last several years, that's still pretty solid. Those are still real guys.
It's track record rather than the drama. Have to give Dana White credit, Buffer said. Whether you like his style or not, he's one of the best promoters in sports history. He knows how to sell a fight. He knows how to build storylines. And he understands what fans want to see. Buffer acknowledged that Dana's presence could bring a fresh promotional angle to the bout, possibly attracting crossover fans from MMA to boxing. He noted that White's experience in building the UFC into a global brand from virtually nothing speaks volumes about his ability to generate buzz, maximize visibility, and deliver high-stakes events that capture the public's imagination. What many might not know, Buffer added, is that Dana White has a boxing background.
A brilliant fight, an exciting fight. I love both fighters. I think they're both amazing fighters. Crawford, amazing fighter. Canelo, he's come up to middleweight and absolutely dominated. If I'd known he was coming up, I might have hung out a little bit longer, right? I'd like to have tested myself against him. Like always, he's beaten everyone, so you think, well, maybe I think I had an idea, I got a plan. But yeah, nothing but respect for both those two guys.
Background. Dana's not just a businessman, he was trained in boxing. He understands the sport at a technical level, and he respects its traditions, even if he challenges them sometimes. So if he gets involved, I think he'll bring energy and structure that could help elevate this event. Buffer also addressed concerns about whether Dana's involvement could sideline traditional promoters or disrupt existing relations.
They're the wrong weights. There's such a big size difference at play. They're both, veterans, if you will, but they're both in really good form. They're both still performing at a real high level. None of them have shot, finished, or sliding. So I'm really looking forward to it. I won't give a prediction as such, just in case I get asked to cover the fight. But what I will say is that it's gonna be a tough one for the smaller man. I think size is definitely a big part to play in this. Things can happen, but it's a tall order, isn't it?
Relationships. While he acknowledged the tension, he urged everyone to focus on what really matters, making the biggest and best fights happen for the fans. In the end, what we should all be focused on is the fight itself, Buffer said. Boxing needs moments like this, fights between the greats in their prime, with the world watching. If Dana White or anyone else can help make that a reality and do it with respect for the sport, then I'm all for. I've concluded by reiterating how special the Canelo versus Crawford matchup could be, not just for boxing, but for sports in general, with both fighters at the top of their game and with global interest building fast. Buffer believed
opponents it's not only the speed, but the techniques that you can use in the fight. Like, make sure that in your daily routine, training routine, like that, make sure that all the techniques, strategy, combination, it's accurate to your
believes the bout has the potential to be one of the defining events of this era. As someone who's been around the sport for decades, Buffer said, I can tell you that this is the kind of fight that doesn't
handle it all. That's it. I am. I'm not in any way trying to shortcome the tremendous fighter named Canelo. I like Canelo a lot, but I like Crawford more. I like Crawford, and I liked him before Canelo didn't look great in his last fight against Skull. I liked him when the fight was first made 2 years ago, or talked about 2 years ago, or close to 2 years ago.
Come around often. It's a clash of champions, of minds, of legacies. If the promotion is done right, and the focus stays on the fighters and the fans, then this could be one of the most memorable nights in boxing history.